Alright, this is just a quick video to show it off, show that it works, just explain some of the things you need to know about the portable. So this is a fully functional Wiiboy color in a clear case. So you can see how it looks from all angles. Did my best to keep the wiring nice and neat so that it doesn't just kind of look like a Mod Podge of wires, but if you don't like how it looks, then that's fair enough. So to turn it on, this bottom button right here is the power button. Hold it for a few seconds. You'll see the LED come on, and then it should boot right up. So the portable runs a software called RV Loader. It's basically the easy way to load just games and stuff from a single menu. So to switch menus, right now you're in the Wii section, but if you want to move to a different one, waggle the C stick around and you'll bring up this wheel. So if I want to go to Gamecube games, just hold that way for a few seconds and that'll load up. If I want to go to homebrew, hold on that for a few seconds, we'll go to homebrew. So to start, I'll just show you around the menu to show you how all that works. So if you want to play a game, you press A. If you want to adjust the settings on it, you press B on the game. It'll open this up. You want to force progressive on all games. I'll show you what happens if you don't. It's not a huge deal. Generally the rest of this stuff you can leave as is, unless you have a specific reason for wanting to change it. And then if you really want to, you can change like the mapping of the buttons, but the controller built in is a Gamecube controller. So on pretty much all Gamecube games it'll be fine as is, but if you ever want to adjust that, you can. Let's see, I'll go ahead, boot up Mario Sunshine real quick to show you that. So the one flaw this portable has that isn't normal is the triggers. Oh, hang on. So this is the red screen I was talking about. If you ever get it, just mash A. If you force progressive, that should fix it pretty much all the time. There are just a couple exceptions where that won't do it. Okay, but like I was saying, so on the back there's the two triggers, and the right trigger has a half press for analog and then a full press for digital. I think you can kind of hear it if I'm quiet. But the left trigger only has one push. And so both the analog and digital are mapped to that one push. I don't know of any games where that would like make the game unbeatable or anything. The only game I know that like uses the analog triggers on a regular basis is Super Mario Sunshine, which only needs the right trigger. And I think Smash Bros. Melee uses it, but I think you can shield with either trigger and be just fine. So that's the one flaw. It's because the case got printed a little weird or something, and for some reason the left trigger doesn't like sit as deeply as it should. And I tried a bunch of things to fix it, and at the end of the day it would have required a whole new case. So that's that issue. It's small. I really don't think it's an issue for probably 90% of the people who would use this, but if it's an issue for you, then that's okay. So on the top here, if you want to raise the volume, that's what this is for. Crank it up real loud. Make it quiet again. If you want a quick mute, you can press both sides of it at the same time and it'll mute. There's a USB-C port for charging and data transfer. So if you want to add new games to it, I'll send you a document. It'll walk you through how to format games and where to put them on the USB drive, which you can see it. It's right there. There's just a micro SD to USB adapter. There's a 128 gigabyte card on here, which is enough for I think 50 or 60 like GameCube or Wii games, depending on the size of the games you get. Which should be plenty. There's an LED here, so if you tap it once, you just get this RGB mode that does nothing. It just fades through the colors. If you press it again, you get a battery life indicator. So right now it looks kind of yellow-green, which means the battery is pretty much full. If you hit it one more time, the LED will start flashing red, and if you power it off by holding the power button while it's in this mode, then you won't be able to turn it on again until you plug in the charger. And so that's just nice if you want to ship it back, or you need to ship it somewhere, or if you're worried it might turn on in an enclosed space, then you can just do that. Although there is a temperature sensor inside of here, so if like it's inside a case and it turns on accidentally, it'll shut itself off if it realizes that it's not staying cool. So you don't have to worry about it melting down. What else? Oh, so on the side of the case here, there's some more buttons. The bottom button, or all these buttons, control different settings on the screen. So if you tap the menu button, you'll bring up this menu. Then you can navigate up and down with these. There's not a whole lot of settings to change. Brightness and contrast are what pretty much all I ever touch. Generally, I'll leave them at both at around 50. I upped it a little bit because I was trying to take pictures of it outside and the sun was bright. But yeah, to get out of this menu, you just kind of have to like sit here and not do anything for a few seconds. And then it'll go away. There's no back button, like even built into the screen itself, which is a little odd. But if you just wait here for a few seconds, it'll disappear and you're back in. Okay, I think that's pretty much all to show for GameCube games. To back out of a GameCube game, you can hold R, Z, B, and down on the D-pad. And then that's just a quick exit back to the main menu. Although you can also just power off the portable and power it back on again. That's also a fine way to do it. Okay, so I think I showed everything with GameCube games. In the homebrew section is where emulators are stored right now. So this is a Game Boy emulator for GBA, Game Boy Color, and just normal Game Boy games. That works pretty well. This is a Super Nintendo emulator, works pretty well. This is an NES emulator that works pretty well. This is an N64 emulator that I don't even know if it works at all on this portable. Wouldn't recommend trying to use it too much. There's a virtual console section, so if you put any virtual console games on here, you can access them through this. Virtual console is very in the works right now. At some point in the future, it should be pretty fleshed out. But for now, it doesn't do much. Okay, and then the last section you'll be using is the Wii game section. So Wii games are here. Some Wii games will take a little bit more setup than others, and I'll explain that. So if it's a game like Mario Kart Wii, where you can play it with a GameCube controller, then you don't... Oh, whoops. Okay, I accidentally booted up the game. I hit the wrong button. Sorry, I should start over. So in Wii games, since the controller built into the portable is a GameCube controller, Wii games aren't going to work unless you emulate a Wii remote with the GameCube controller. And so the software is set up to be able to do that pretty easily. So to power it off, I just held that button for a few seconds. I'll turn it back on. And then to cycle through the LED modes, you just tap the power button. I don't remember if I said that earlier or not, but I'll generally just tap it twice to get it to LED off. Okay, sorry about that. So now that we're back here, so if you press B on a game, you get options. You don't want to enable Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. You can enable USB saves if you've got like a second Wii and you want to transfer saves back and forth. USB saves is in a little bit of an early stage right now, so I think I've had issues with it on some games. So I generally leave it disabled unless you really want to be able to transfer that save. And then enable GC to Wii mode is the emulator, or I guess it's an emulator for the Wii remote. So that way the controls will work with it. So I'm not going to set up a configuration on Mario Kart Wii, because that game works with a GameCube controller, kind of like Smash Bros. Does. But I will set one up for Super Mario Galaxy, because this is a game that does need a Wii remote. So Wii remote orientation, you can set this to standard or sideways. For Mario Galaxy, I want standard. Wiimote extension, there's Nunchuck, Classic Controller, and none. Right now, I don't think Classic Controller works, but we need Nunchuck for Mario Galaxy anyways. Motion Plus enabled, we don't need that. Wiimote IR mode, I like setting this to shift. You can try shift or direct. Basically, direct maps the C stick or the pointer stick directly to like wherever the stick is. So like if the stick is holding right, then the pointer will like fly to the right or fly to the left or whichever way you move the stick. Shift, it acts more like, I guess, a mouse, where if you press down, then the cursor will scroll down, and then it'll stay there unless you like scroll up. And so I prefer that method for most games, but that's up to you. IR is the pointer functionality, if I didn't say that. So for Wiimote IR, you essentially map what stick you want to use as the pointer. I'll use the C stick here. Wiimote IR timeout, so you can set this to an increment of time. That's basically how long the cursor will sit on the screen before it disappears. So it depends. On some games, you want it to disappear pretty quickly. On others, you want it to last forever. On this one, I'll just set it to like 900 milliseconds. And then to map a button, you press A, and then you hold what button you want. So D-pad up. D-pad down. D-pad right. D-pad left. And then so on and so forth. You can map triggers if you want. You can map the Z button if you want. So any button that's on here, or at least that's a controller button, will work for that. And then for the shake, you have like 3 different shake options. I'll usually map all shake things to the same button, just because it guarantees a shake on all 3 axes. Because some games only check for shakes on like certain axes. It's a little weird. Nunchuck stick, you just pick a stick like you'd expect. And if you want to, for some reason, like if you want to use like the stick as a D-pad or something, you can map individual stick inputs to buttons. And so I sometimes like to do that on like New Super Mario Bros. Wii. You got Nunchuck Shake, Nunchuck Z, all that. And then when you're done with your config, you press Start, and that'll save it for you. And I think that's everything. Volume, all that. So yeah. If you want to buy it, or if you have additional questions, DM me, Instagram, Twitter, or send me an email. It's first come, first serve, and I'll do my best to like update like the website and such if it does sell. But if it's possible that if you get to this late, it may already be gone. But yeah, thanks for watching that. Hit me up if you need anything.